Hey guys, so this is the special project I've been mentioning for a while. Today I will be showing you how I created my interpretation of the Electra statue here in Birmingham. But this is what she actually looks like. I chose her as the topic of this video because ever since I was little, I have always been obsessed with her. Especially the old Birmingham joke / myth that the potholes and constant construction downtown are because of Vulcan coming down from Red Mountain at night to visit her because they're in love. So if you want to see how I got this look, just keep on watching. First, I'm going to paint a base layer of gold all over my face, then down my neck, getting my chest and shoulders a little bit later. You can use whatever metallic gold body paint you want, but to achieve the pigmentation I wanted, I chose one that you have to mix a powdered pigment with a mixing liquid. That way I could control how much gold there was. A similar effect can be achieved by mixing your powdered pigment with glycerin, which you can get at drugstores and places like Walmart and Target. Also, don't forget to be careful around your eyes when applying this liquid makeup. It got near my waterline and I thought it got in my eyeball. I didn't worry about getting a super even coat on my neck the first pass because later on I was going to need it to blend in easily with my chest. So just got a quick layer down and then moved on to my shoulders. If I was wearing this out to something like a Halloween party, I would have someone help me so they can get my back. But since that was not the case, I just kept rotating my body to cover as much as I could see. I kind of treated my mirror like it was a camera. If I could see skin, I painted it, and actually just a little bit past it. And then you can even see me use my computer to monitor for help. Once most of that was done, I took a second gold liquid makeup to try and highlight the typical areas of my face. I used a pigment that was not by the same brand as the first gold and mixing liquid, and it worked out okay. It definitely did something, but it didn't work out as well as I hoped. The gold from the base was just so absorbent, it just disappeared. And here's my face getting tight from all the paint. Next, I started with the lightning. I made the first bolt on each eye with a white SFX cream so that if I got the angle or shape wrong, I could just blend it away. After that, I moved on to a white liquid liner. It's much easier to get good lines with because you can change directions much more easily than with the cream. It's also way more pigmented. I suggest finding a white liner with a fine and tapered brush so you can get good line variation. I also suggest keeping most of the product on the very tip of the brush so you have a lot of control. For the actual shape of each bolt, I just freehanded it. I wanted it to have more realistic shapes, so I watched lots of videos on how lightning moves. Sometimes it's pretty straight, other times it curves back in on itself. You just have to let the shapes come organically. And then don't be afraid to have some lines connect and branch out from each other. And here I'm just spraying down the liner with some setting spray. I'd already done this to the rest of my face and neck before starting the lightning, but my camera was not recording. Next, I am taking a medium warm matte brown eyeshadow to create the shadows under the bolts. When I first tested this look, I tried it with a metallic brown, but the gold paint just ate it. The gold is so metallic, it even showed through the matte brown, making it look more like an actual shadow. I applied it with a really small pointed detail brush. With it, I could get right next to the eyeliner and put a darker shadow down, then blend it out the farther it got from the white. The tricky part about making these cast shadows is the light source. Typically you pick one source and base all your shadow directions on that, but since each bolt is its own light source and so is the eye, you have to shade around both sides. I kept the bottom shadows the darkest though, because you are also kind of assuming there's light coming from the sun overhead. And I also concentrated the brown the darkest where bolts met or curved. From there, I went back over some of the liner that got smudged or dirty from the brown. Yeah, I definitely watched Avatar: The Last Airbender the whole time I was filming. From there, I moved on to the nose contour. Because she was designed and built in the 1920s, Electra has a very strong nose shape. Art Deco artists took classic Greek and Roman shapes and modernized them. Instead of having just a prominent brow ridge and nose, the shapes were stylized to be more angular and sharp. So I'm taking the same brown color we just used with a flat square brush that can create precise sharp lines. Once my lines were down, I took a more dense brush to pack that color on in a downward motion. Then as I got farther down, I blended it out using the fluffy side of the same brush. Depending on your nose shape, you may not have to square off the tip of your nose, but I needed to, so it looked more Art Deco. And I just kept blending that out and making sharp lines as I went. After the bulk of the brown was put down, I went back to blend the edges out a little bit more, and I also carried some of the brown into the first half of my eyebrows to make that sharp brow ridge that I was talking about. And after having to take an hour break for my camera battery to recharge, I moved on to the face contour. Still using the same brown, I used a fluffy face brush to put it in the hollows of my cheeks. I didn't make it super sharp because her face is still pretty rounded on the statue. One thing I would watch out for during this process is the gold lifting. Because it is a powdered pigment mixed with a liquid, sometimes the powder dried down a little wonky. If it does lift, don't worry because it's a super easy fix. I felt like all of my shadows were just a tad too dark and blended out a little patchy, so I took some of the loose gold color and dusted it over those areas to blend it out better, which also solved the previously mentioned problem. I tried defining my jawline, but ended up just doing some light shading in the end. My camera stopped recording, and I didn't know, so unfortunately there is no video of me blending everything out on my jawline and cheeks so that everything could look soft again. But this is the closest I got. To do this look, you have to be fully prepared to shower afterwards. Not only is the gold going on your body, it is also going in your hair. So first I section out my hair, leaving some sections up front down while I put the rest back in a lower bun. And then from there I followed the same principle as when I painted my body. If I could see it when I turned, I painted it. I didn't paint the bun though because that would have taken way too much time and paint. If you wanted to, you could totally use gold hairspray color, but I wanted to make sure that all of my golds were the same. This next part includes some prep work. Instead of the lightning bolts that are in Electra's hair for the statue, I chose to make a light halo that looked more like a Renaissance painting. To make one, all you need is a garbage bag or something to protect your floral workspace, a simple headband, and 2 different lengths of zip ties. First, you take one of your longest zip ties, just like this, and tighten it around the headband. Make sure it is centered so it can be your reference point for everything else that comes afterwards. After that, you just take a shorter zip tie and tighten it around the headband right next to your long one. Keep repeating these steps until it is as full as you like. I made 2 versions just in case I didn't like how one looked on camera. The one I ended up picking had a long zip tie every 3 short ones until it got to a point on the sides that long ones looked dumb and I just kept using short ones. And I used, for my longest, 11 inches and 8 inches for my short ones. And then I painted them the same gold color as me. And back to the look, time to put on our halo crowns. And I look like a swamp monster with that hair. With the sections up front, I laid them over the base of the headband and pinned the rest up around the bun. I wanted to hide as much of the headband ends as possible. And then from there, I just painted those 2 sections of hair, making sure I got my scalp, which several days later, I still have gold on my scalp, so shower good. And here we are into the final stretch. I painted almost my entire left arm so I could use it in shots. If this was a costume though, I would have done both arms and hands, but I was home alone and needed to put in some whiteout lenses, so 2 painted hands would not have been a good idea. After this, I gave everything one last spray down with some setting spray, popped in some whiteout lenses, and bam! My version of Electra. If you want to know more about Birmingham's Divinity of Light, I will leave some links below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and become part of the fam. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye! This is also my first time ever wearing contacts, and I want to die. I can't, like, I'm in such a fog. I don't know what's happening. Like, I can see things. But it's like that time I got oil-based cleanser in my eye. I just couldn't see. I can't tell if my makeup's messed up or not.